Well, it's no secret that Bluey has become a worldwide phenomenon, as it is also the top streaming show on Disney Plus. And the interesting part, or the wrinkle to that, is Disney does not own Bluey, and they basically have just had the distribution rights for North America when they can show it on Disney Plus and Disney Junior. And it's been long rumored or wondering why Disney hasn't included him, in the theme parks. And years ago, when they initially signed the distribution deal with Bluey, they had declined the theme park rights because at the time, I don't think anybody thought that Bluey was going to become this sensation that it has, as we have seen Bluey pop up periodically in other theme parks, as United Parks and Resorts are the company that owns SeaWorld, and it has popped up in some of their theme parks, but nothing major. So it's kind of been a little bit of a gray area in terms of like where the theme park rights lie when it comes to Bluey, as it seems now that Disney is trying to get their hands on Bluey as much as they can.
No, God, please, no, no!
As it was announced just now that Bluey is going to join the theme parks and cruise lines beginning next year, and there is a new Bluey movie that is being made that Disney is involved with. So we will read through this and give some thoughts on it, and hopefully Disney will not be involved in any creative processes with this at all. So, hi, I'm Jared with the Capture Magic, and we will just get right into this, and we will start with the movie announcement first. They announced this a couple days ago. BBC Studios and the Walt Disney Company announced first ever Bluey animated feature film. So the good news here is, and I think a lot of people worry about Disney, given their track record many times, getting involved in something like this. Are they going to change this show? At least from what they're saying here, it's still being written and directed by the Bluey creator Joe Brum. The film is a Ludo Studios production in collaboration with BBC Studios. Joe Blum said, "I really enjoyed the experience of working with a longer format on The Sign in Series 3, so going even further with a feature film seems like a natural extension of that. I've always thought Bluey deserved a theatrical movie. I want this to be an event that the whole family can enjoy. I'm excited to continue to partner with Cecilia Pearson, Tom Fussell, and the team at BBC Studios, and Dana Walden, Alan Bergman, and Disney to bring this new Bluey studio to the big screen."
Guys, I'm scared. I'm really scared.
So in terms of Disney's involvement here, BBC Studios is financing and licensing the picture for distribution, which they're already involved with Bluey now, so that's not changing anything. Post-production funding is from the Australian government through the producer Offset and Screen Australia, and support from the Queensland government through Screen Queensland Post Digital and Visual Effects Incentive. Disney will release the Bluey movies in theaters worldwide, followed by streaming on Disney Plus, and the movie will also air on ABC iView and ABC Kids in Australia post-theatrical release. So I suppose the good news here is that it doesn't seem like Disney, at least from what they're saying, is going to be involved creatively with this. It seems like still the studio that's made the show, the creator is writing and directing this. So it seems like at least on that end of things, hopefully they're allowed to do what they've done, because obviously they have created a very successful show that, our kids like it in and out of spurts. I will say, as somebody who has had to sit through many kids programs with our children, I enjoy watching Bluey. I don't mind when it comes on. I find it pretty funny. And it is a show, if you haven't seen it, has a lot of heart, has a lot of humor, has a lot of lessons in it. It's kind of things that you used to see from television, long ago, which I think is one reason why people do enjoy it, because there are very heartfelt moments in it, and it doesn't lean into things that it doesn't need to be leaning into. It just stays in its lane, and it's just a fun, good time that, your entire family can watch and not have to worry about anything. And I think this is why it is the #1 show on Disney Plus, and I think that's why it's a really big hit. And obviously that leans into the theme parks, and it seems that this was just announced that Bluey is going to join the Disney theme parks and cruise lines beginning next year. So this is from the Wrap here. It says, Bluey is coming to the Disney theme parks and cruise ships beginning in 2025. Disney experiences the division of the company that includes the various Disney parks, and the hugely popular Disney Cruise Line has announced that the property will come to the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California, and the Walt Disney World Resort outside of Orlando, Florida, along with the Disney Cruise Line. Beginning in 2025, the Disney Cruise Line voyages originating from Australia and New Zealand will be the first to let families interact with Bluey and her sister, Bingo, like never before. From special meet and greets to an interactive and clue-filled game that ends in a dance party featuring Bluey's signature moves, families in the region can embark on a magical holiday with their favorite Blue healer. As for Walt Disney World and Disneyland, the press release just states that Ludo Studios, alongside BBC Studios and Disney, are working on a number of special activations for fans to enjoy. The release continued. Details about how guests can meet Bluey and her family at Disneyland and Walt Disney World will be shared in the months ahead. The Disney Parks and Cruise Line component of Bluey is part of a major expansion between the Walt Disney Company and BBC Studios. Recently, Disney acquired the global theatrical rights for the upcoming theatrical film, which will be produced by Ludo Studios, like we just talked about. Josh Giamaro, the chairman of Disney Experiences, said in an official statement, "Bluey has become a household name for families around the world, and we are thrilled to bring her story to life in new ways. We can't wait to watch our youngest guests and their families make memories with Bluey in our parks and on our cruises." So, first off, like I said, please do not let Disney get involved in any sort of creative end of this. I beg of them, don't do it. Like, just if what has been successful, leave it be. Let that be successful. You know, Disney wants to distribute it. Like, they can make money off of that. But as long as they're not involved in any of the content, any of the decisions, any of the storytelling of this, I think that's a win, because I think it was inevitable at some point that Disney was going to try and do this. And I guess it was probably just going to be relying upon, you know, the creators of Bluey and the Ludo Studios about how much they were wanting to really go out there. I don't think they'd ever really said much before then, but obviously Disney is probably been talking to them for a while about this. And Disney does have a relationship with BBC, as they have the relationship with Doctor Who. So that's probably something they relied on as well to try and get more out of this. And when it comes to Disney and the theme parks, you're talking about Epic Universe opening in 2025, and Disney not having much on the horizon while they have the things that they announced at D23 are going to be built. I think it's going to take a long time for those to be built. If they can get now more than likely this would be a Bluey meet and greet. I don't believe you're talking about any sort of attractions, at least at this point. But if they're able to do a Bluey meet and greet or some sort of Bluey activity in the parks, that I actually think is something that will move the needle, because Bluey is a huge hit. So I think for young, families with young children, even adults that like Bluey, I think this is actually something that would be a pretty big draw. So in terms of Disney needing something to really compete with Epic Universe, this is something that can definitely help. Now, I don't think this is going to get people to just not go to Epic Universe, but very likely what Disney may be also trying to rely on is people coming for Epic Universe. They hear that there's Bluey in the theme parks. They're more than likely going to be like, yeah, let's go check that out because we're going to go meet Bluey or whatever the case may be. So I think this definitely helps them in a time when I've had many questions about what they are going to do the next 3 to 5 years or however long it takes for this stuff to be built that they announced are going to be built this year as Epic Universe is opening, and they're just going to have a clean run at things. Now, like I said, I don't think this is going to be something that's going to be competing with Epic Universe toe-to-toe. So I don't think people are going to decide to go to Disney for a week simply because of Bluey, because, again, more than likely this is going to be a meet and greet, probably some sort of scavenger hunt. Now, Disney has tried to do a scavenger hunt in the past that was Bluey related, and it got shut down pretty quick. So Disney has wanted to do Bluey things in the parks before. Seems now they have gotten their wish. So I definitely think it's something that will help them. I don't think this is going to hurt them at all. And I'm sure they're hoping that this will help them bolster attendance during this time period where they're, basically going up against a brand new theme park that they don't have much of an answer for in the coming years here. Now, in terms of how big of a hit this will be, it's hard to know. All I know is, we have younger kids, families we know with younger kids, like all of them watch Bluey. Bluey is a massive hit. I think this would be something that is legitimately a pretty big draw, depending on what they do, how they set this up. I can see the meet and greet lines being very long for this, and I think if this is a hit, Disney will probably double down into this. Now, if they'll ever do a ride, who knows? I mean, I guess they could. It's hard to know with, how does Bluey end up going forward, because the creator of the show even said, and part of their movie press release was they're not sure if they're going to be making more episodes. So they basically said they were taking a break after the last episode they did, which was The Sign, which a lot of people watched, and that was a longer episode. And so the future of Bluey outside of the movie and the theme parks is a little unknown here. So if it does wrap up, then you question, like, how long does the show really have relevance, as it very well could. Children's shows kind of get really popular and sometimes they fade away, but Bluey is a little bit different here. So it could, be a show that really does last a while and people still are very interested in it as time goes along. So I don't know on that end, but I definitely think if you're Disney, that's a good get in terms of something that you can do pretty quick. That's not going to take years to construct, and you can throw up a meet and greet that will be very popular. I wouldn't be surprised if they do more things like this. Now, I don't know what else they could tap into, but Bluey is a good get for them. So I think that will definitely help them in 2025, as I'm sure they're going to be promoting this like crazy with meet and greets and maybe even character meals. Who knows what else they do with this in the parks, but more than likely will just be meet and greet areas, things like that. But again, I think it will be something that a lot of people will be very interested in. So we'll have to wait and see what they end up doing with this. But it seems like it is going to be on the cruise lines first, and then coming to the theme parks, and then obviously the movie that is supposed to come out in 2027, which then, they're going to be probably promoting very heavily in the parks as well. So it seems like Disney has definitely got their hands on Bluey more, which is probably something they wanted. Again, I just say, as long as Disney's not involved in the creative process, I suppose this just means more of an ability for families to go check them out. I'm sure that this will not be cheap if they have a special meet and greet or a character meal or something like that. But either way, if you're looking at it from Disney's perspective, it's not a bad move, I will say. So we'll have to wait and see what they announce with this, but that is what we know now, as they just announced this a few minutes ago, and I figured I'd get a video out on it. But either way, that's going to be it, though, for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about Bluey coming to the parks, and do you think this is something that will help them compete with Epic Universe? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.